Mindful life practice.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's get this started. All right, today we are actually going to start off standing. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start off standing today. So if you'll stand, I'll say at the top of your mat, but you can really stand wherever you like. We can get to the top of your mat when you need to. And if you'll gently close your eyes for me while you're standing here. You know what mountain pose is. Go ahead and move into that. If you don't, just stand there. I'll talk us into it in just a moment. Been reflecting a lot this week on lots of things as I've been talking myself through things and also mentoring other people. And one of the themes that keeps coming up over and over again is the theme of effort. And the reason the theme of effort keeps coming up is because it's really difficult to quantify someone's effort, either recognizing it in ourselves or recognizing it in someone else, because it's not necessarily something that you can see. So sometimes, that something may look easy and we have no idea what someone's struggle might be, or what, we may make something look easy and someone from the outside looking in has no idea what we're actually doing in order to make that thing work. And so I wanted to start off this morning in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Just because standing is something that we do throughout the day with seemingly little effort. But if I asked you to stand here and do absolutely nothing, like remove all the effort and you're standing there, what would happen? Like maybe you would sway side to side, maybe you would sway backwards and forwards. But if I asked you to remove all effort from what you were doing, I'm not sure how many of us would be standing completely still. And so even standing in this mountain pose, which is sort of like the foundation of yoga, it's called a standard anatomical position. And a lot of positions are based on this foundational concept. If I told you to put some effort into it, I may not be able to see it, but you would be able to feel immediately how it changes what you're doing. And so maybe if I invited you to push through all four corners of your feet and really ground yourself into the floor. And maybe if I asked you to lengthen your tailbone down towards the back of your knees while pushing up through, engaging your quadriceps, I might not be able to see that, but I think you would feel it. And maybe if I invited you to pull your shoulders down away from your ears, maybe given a similar action as you would do if you were trying to pull your shoulder blades together just slightly so I can't see that movement. And maybe you turn your hands to face the front of your room. Maybe you lengthen your head towards the ceiling. Now my eyes are closed, but if I open my eyes and look for those movements, I probably still wouldn't be able to see them. But it doesn't mean that you're not doing them and that you can't feel the impact of that effort. And so I've been going all week thinking about what my yoga practice teaches me about recognizing and acknowledging not only my efforts, but the efforts of other people. And so I invite you also to think about the efforts that you put forth throughout this practice that may or may not be visible to me or to anyone else, or even as you see me do things that might look like they're effortless, maybe wondering what kind of effort I'm putting into making that pose happen. While we stand here, let's take a couple of cleansing breaths. And so let's breathe in through the nose and then sigh it out the mouth. In through the nose and then sigh it out the mouth. One more time, in through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Go ahead and return to a normal state of breathing or normal rhythm breathing. And then go ahead and just start to release some of the effort that you may have been putting into standing there in Dasana. And maybe a little more effort still, just to blink your eyes open if they were closed. From here, just shake your arms out a little bit. And we'll start here by doing some shoulder circles. And so just slightly lifting your shoulders up towards your ears, taking them to the back, then lowering down and bringing them back up to the front. So we'll do these circles backwards as slowly or as quickly as you feel like you need to for your practice. This effort is all about what you need this morning. And then let's reverse those circles and go in the opposite direction. Remembering to extend whatever effort you need. Bring your arms to stillness at your side and inhale them up above your head. Turn your gaze to slightly look up if you're ready for that. And then take your right hand and grab your left wrist and pull yourself over to the right hand side. You can take that pull as lightly or as deeply as you need to. Remembering to breathe. And then inhale your arms above your head, maybe interlacing your fingers, maybe just keeping them straight up, maybe turning your gaze up, maybe not. And then take your left hand and grab your right wrist and pull over to the left. Maybe extending the same amount of effort as you did on the other side. Maybe you need something different on this side. I tend to be uneven and unbalanced in like every movement, so maybe you are too. Inhale, your hands above your head. And then let's separate those hands into a forward fold. In this first fold, maybe you bend at your knees. Oh, you can't see my knees today. Put a slight bend in your knees so that you can release some of the pressure from your lower back. Maybe wiggle your tail a little bit if you need to loosen things up. And then, if it is comfortable for you, grab opposite elbows and just hang here for a moment. Maybe you sway from side to side, if that's the effort that you need. Maybe you just stay here. Remembering to breathe. From here, if it is comfortable for you, keep hold of your elbows. But we're going to take some circles here. Will you rise up, bring your arms almost above your head, and then circle back down and around. If this is not comfortable for you, you can release your elbows and then you can get a similar movement like this. So whether your hands are straight down in front of you or you have your elbows, let's take that 3 more times in that direction. Maybe breathing on the inhale, that one's good. breathing as you go up and exhaling as you come down. When you finish that last one, just hold here for a moment. And then let's take it to the other side. Again, as quickly or as slowly as you need to take that movement. Once you finish that last one, go ahead and release your hands towards the floor. And I say towards the floor because if that means that you need to place your hands on your shins or on your calves, go ahead and do that. And then rise up to a flat back. Ooh, what's going on with this hair? And just hold here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale all the way back down into a fold. In this forward fold, see if you can, if you're not already, extend the effort to put the weight into the balls of your feet. Again, keeping a bend in your knees if you need to, or if you want to. It's not even about a knee. It's like, what do you want? And then at the bottom of the next exhale, push down through your feet and rise all the way to standing, inhaling your arms up above your head. Exhale to heart center. And then arms back down by your side into Tadasana. Inhale your arms up. Exhale through heart center all the way down to the floor. Flourish. Inhale to that half back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, push down through your feet and rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, your hands to heart center, and then down by your side. We'll take that 2 more times. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart center, and then down by your side. Last time on your own. At this point, if you're standing anywhere besides the top of your mat, go ahead and step to the top of your mat for me. Inhale your arms up above your head. Exhale, fold forward. We're going to step back about half of the distance that we would for a plank into our first down dog. In this down dog, just go ahead and wiggle things just a little bit. Maybe you move your hips from side to side. Maybe you pedal your feet. Maybe you try to get your heels closer to the mat with every pedal. Maybe things are too tight for that. Take 1 or 2 more movements just to balance out whatever it was that you were doing, and then drop down to your knees. Spread your knees. Well, I'm going to tell you to spread your knees to the width of your mat and to bring your toes to touch, but if this is not comfortable for you, don't do that. Just push back into a child's pose that is comfortable for you. In this child's pose, stretch your arms out long in front of you. Or I guess it would be above you, long above you. And see if you can feel that stretch. bottom of your next exhale, push yourself up into table. I normally say to put your hands right under your shoulders, but it might, for this first one, it might be helpful to move your hands a little bit forward so that you're more in, so you're like in between a plank and a table, and then rock backwards and forwards. So like between a modified child's pose and a modified plank. We'll do that about 5 times. And then come to stillness in your table. From here, take your left hand and move it towards the center of your mat. And raise your right hand above your head and twist. Maybe your gaze looks up towards your hand, if that feels good on your neck and your shoulders. Otherwise, your gaze is down. And then let's take that right hand and thread it down underneath the body. Your left hand can extend out long in front of you like it just did in that child's pose we were in a few minutes ago. Or you can take it up to get a stretch here. Or you can take it behind the back for a bind. Remember to breathe. On the next exhale, return your hand to the floor or to table position if it was already on the floor. Take your right hand and extend it back up to the sky. And return to table. We'll take that same movement on the left side. So moving your right hand towards the center of your mat, taking your left hand, extend it up to the sky. Don't forget to breathe. Exhale it down under the body. And then decide what to do with your right hand. Take it out long in front of you. Take it above you. Or take it behind you to feel that stretch. Return your right hand to table position. Take your left hand, extend it to the sky. And then return to table. Let's take 5 rounds of cow-cat here. Dropping the belly, lifting the chin, the head, the hips. And then exhaling, always down, head down, back round. Inhale, drop the belly for cow. Exhale, round for cow. Take a few more rounds of whatever speed and effort you need to. And then when you're ready, come back to table. Once again, move your hands in front of you just slightly so that we can do that rock backwards and forwards. This time, maybe you tuck your feet so that when you move back into that child's pose, you get a little bit of a stretch on your feet. And then after that last one, return to table. If your toes are already tucked, keep them there. If they're not, go ahead and tuck them and push up into downward facing dog. And this down dog, let's stay here for about 5 breaths. Remembering to push through your finger pads, especially the first finger and the thumb. Maybe keeping a bend in your knee. Your gaze is towards, I heard somebody cue the other day that your gaze is towards your belly button. I don't know about you, but I can't see my belly button from here. So just in that direction. That's just fine. That works for me. On the next inhale, shift forward a little further than you think you need to, and then lower all the way down to the floor. If your hands are not underneath your shoulders, go ahead and slide them back. And we'll take a few baby cobras here. So lift your head and your chest off the floor. Lower down. Head and chest lift. Exhale, down to the floor. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Here, tuck your toes and push back up to table. While you're in your table here, take your wrists and flip them upside down just so that you can get a little bit of a stretch. You can choose to do one at a time. This is not a movement that a lot of us are used to doing, so if it's too much pressure on your wrist to do both at the same time, then just do one at a time, alternating. Maybe turn them towards center. I had a lot of people complaining yesterday about wrist pain, so I'm trying to remain cognizant of how much effort we're putting into being on our wrist with some of these movements. Okay. From here, we are going to take a couple of knee planks. So I'll do my right foot first so that I can face you. So from table, kickstand your right foot out to the side-ish. So that it's almost parallel to the top of your mat. And then take your left leg and extend it long underneath of you. All right, hi kitty. And then extend your arm above you. You may need to, I always feel like I need to adjust the placement of my hands in order to get this. Ideally, you would like to get a straight line from the bottom hand up to the top hand. But what does that even mean? Like my arm hyperextends, and so I have to remember to put a bend in it. I don't even know that my arms are straight, so I'm trying to get a straight line. I laugh. If you'd like to get a little bit of effort here, I invite you to lift your leg, your extended leg. If not, you can leave it right here. You can also take your hand and extend it long above you. If your things are raised, your hand or your foot, go ahead and reground them. Return to table. And then let's take that movement on the other side. So kick standing the left foot, extending your right foot long. Extending your arm above your head. And then deciding what to do with the rest of your body. How much effort do you want to put in at 8 something in the morning? It all counts. If your appendages are up in the air, go ahead and reground them, return to table, and push back into child for just a moment. Here, we'll have the option to do that exact same thing, again, going from table to side plank on the right. So returning to table and then side plank on the left. Or if you want to put forth the effort to do a full plank, then I invite you to do that. If you'd like to do a full side plank, I invite you to try that. If not, what we just did is totally and completely perfect. Everything counts. If you're doing the full plank to full side plank, from plank, turn your feet to the side. And then the same thing that we do with our down dog hands and fingers, do the same thing. Maybe push your hips up. Maybe that's not the effort that you want to put forth today. Totally okay with me. When you come back to your, if you haven't switched sides already, go ahead and switch sides. When you have expelled the right amount of effort, then go ahead and come back down to the middle plank, whether it's knees or full, and then push back into your child's pose. Stretching your arms long above you. Get out of these wrists in a little bit. Okay, go ahead and push back up to table. Tuck your toes if they're not already tucked, and push up to downward facing dog. From here, shift forward. You can put your knees down or stay in full plank. Lower all the way down, chaturanga. Inhale for cobra, or you can straighten your arms for up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here for 5 breaths. Lower down, knees as wide as the mat, toes come to touch. If that's your thing, push back into child's pose. In this child's pose, maybe take your arms behind you to take some of the weight off of your wrist for a moment. Maybe do wrist circles. Awesome. Come back to table. Just got a couple more down dogs. It's all good. Push back up into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg behind you for 3-legged dog. Bend your knee and allow your hips to open, and then bring it back to neutral. Bring your knee in towards your chest, and then try to kick it through your hands. If you need to move your hands out of the way, totally fine. Lower your knee, untuck your toes. So we're in this lunge position. From here, take your left hand and move it so that it's right on the outside of your right foot, and then turn and twist your right arm up to the sky. On the next exhale, bring your hand back down, tuck your back toes, kick back to downward facing dog. Lift your left foot behind you for 3-legged dog. Bend your left knee and open your hips. Return your hips to neutral, bringing your left knee in towards your chest and kicking it through your hands. If it doesn't make it there, use your hands to help you move it forward. Lower the right knee, Untuck your toes. Take your right hand, place it right on the outside of your left foot. Turn and extend your left hand to the sky. Remembering to breathe. Lower that left hand down to the earth. Tuck your toes. Kick back to downward facing dog. Take one round of breath. And then shift forward further than you think you need to. Lower all the way down for chaturanga. Inhale for cobra or up dog. Lift your hips for downward facing dog. We'll take that one more time. The option here is you can go from three-legged dog, bring your hands through, to a runner's lunge. If this is too much effort for you this morning, drop that knee. Untuck the toes and lift. If you're here, back down, kick back to downward facing dog, lift the right foot. Same options on this side. Get through. Your option is runner's lunge, or you bring your knee down to the floor. It doesn't matter. Every effort counts. Return your hand to the earth, tuck your toes, kick back to downward facing dog. One round of breath. Shift forward further than you think. Lower all the way down for chaturanga. Inhale for cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lower your knees, bring your toes to touch, and forehead to the mat for child's pose. Take one more round of breath here. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. Your knees are still potentially spread wide. Put your weight into your hands and tuck your toes, and then see if you can rock up into a yogi squat. If not, then go ahead and rise down to standing. Separate your feet. Almost legs width distance apart, and then just lower down into your yogi squat. While you're in the squat, just kind of feel around and see what kind of movements you need today. You can move from side to side. You can put your weight into your feet and just try to rebound up towards the ceiling a little bit and then lower down. Or you can stay grounded and take some twists here. Let's call this freestyle yogi squat. Like, do whatever you feel like you need to do this morning in this position. If you have a water or a coffee nearby and you want to practice reaching for it, take a sip and then reach and put it back. Mine is not close enough, but I heard that if you can talk yourself into sitting in this position for 2 to 5 minutes a day, that it does wonders for opening up your hips. And my hips tend to stay really tight. Like, I know it probably looks like I'm sitting really low into this yogi squat, but it's taken some effort to be here, I gotta tell you. And this is after doing yoga at least twice a day for the last several days, aimed at trying to open these hips up. Sitting, I heard women especially hold a lot of stress in their hips. Got a lot of that going on. Stay here for a couple more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, return your hands back down to the earth. Lower your knees. Bring your toes into touch. Woo! And push back into child's pose. If your legs feel like they need to not be in this position, just kind of maybe push forward onto your elbows a little bit, and then extend your legs long behind you. If the child's pose feels good, stay there. Otherwise, leave the instincts. We'll just get a restorative back bend real quick. Whatever position you are in, go ahead and push up into downward facing dog. This time, walk your hands back to your feet. Grab opposite elbows and sway. Maybe this feels different than it did when we first started practice. Maybe it doesn't. Doesn't matter. Effort's still the same. You're doing it. These messages are for me as much as they are for anybody else who needs help this morning. All right, lower your hands down, and you're gonna rise up one vertebrae at a time, or as close as you can get to it, and then return your hands to your side for Tadasana. If you haven't already gotten a drink of water and you'd like to, I'll do that too. This would be a good time to do that. All right, and then meet me back at the top of your mat. Let's set up for our warrior two. So take your right leg and step it back about legs width distance apart. Your front knee is bent at a 90-degree angle. Your back foot is turned about 45 degrees, and your hips are neutral-ish. Maybe lengthen your tailbone down towards the back of your knees. And then inhale your hands up to your sides, your arms up by your side. Maybe play with the distance of your feet. Make sure your knee is not tracking over your ankle. So if you need to move your feet in or you need to move them out, do whatever it is that you need to do for your body. I say approximately one leg's width distance apart, but I've also got really short legs, so that might make all the difference in the world. And hold. Whenever I see people do this pose, it always looks super graceful and super easy, but the longer you hold it, the longer you realize there is some work to be done if you're doing this right. On the next inhale, go ahead and straighten that right leg, the front leg, the left leg, and turn your feet to face the long edge of your mat. Fold forward at the hips, and then bring your hands down underneath you. From here, let's do another freestyle. So freestyle wild-legged pose. If you feel like you need some twisting in your life, walk your hands over to the right. Feel that stretch along your hamstrings. Fold into that leg if you can. Put a bend in the knee if you need to. And you can do that to the right and the left. You can just stay here. Maybe walking your hands back. Try to pull yourself closer down to the earth. Maybe you hold your knees. I need to learn my body parts this early in the morning. These are definitely toes and not knees. But hey, if you need to hold your knees, go for that too. Take another breath here. Push down through the feet and rise back up to standing. Heel toe your feet in just a tad and make sure that your toes are facing outwards and your heels are facing inwards. Can you see my feet? Yeah. And then from here, cactus the arms, bend at the knee, and just hold here. While you're here, can you lift up the heel of your right foot and hold? If you're shaking, that means you're putting forth the right effort. If you're not, that means that you're super strong and you've already put in the right effort. Go ahead and lay that heel down. Can you lift the left heel and hold? Whoops. Keep catching myself in the camera. I'm like, that's not the right alignment. What's the right alignment? And can you just for a moment raise both heels and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels down, push through your feet, rise to standing. Hands to heart center, and then down by your side. Turn your right toes towards the front of your mat. Left toes in, approximately 45 degrees. Then the front leg for warrior 2 on the other side. Raise your arms up to your side. Remember to breathe. Now that I'm reminding you like 15 minutes into the practice, don't forget to breathe. On the next exhale, go ahead and straighten that front leg. Turn your toes to the long edge of your mat. Hands on your hips. Bend forward. Maybe you do something different this time. Maybe if you walked left and right before, you hold your toes this time. Maybe if you held your toes last time, you walk right and left this time. Maybe you decided that you need to do the same thing that you did the first time. That works. Stay here for 2 more rounds of breath. Slowly walk your hands so that they're underneath of you. Bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees, push through the floor, rise to standing. If you need to, heel toe your feet in just a tad. Toes are facing outwards, heels are in. Let's cactus those arms one more time. Bend into your goddess pose. And let's lift the right for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Lift the left for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Let's lift both for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower both heels down. Push down through your feet. Rise to standing. Bring your hands into heart center and down by your side. Either hop or step your feet together whatever you've got the caffeine to do this morning and shake it out. All right, let's take our balancing poses. So from here, standing at the top of your mat, I'm gonna stand here so that I can face you. It's actually the top of the mat that my dog is laying on, the bottom of the mat that my dog is laying on, but you know, it's his studio. Putting all of your weight into your left foot. Kickstand your right foot by your ankle, your shin, or your quad. I'm feeling shinish today. And then from here, decide where you want your effort to be. Your options are leave your hands by your side for Tadasana. Another option is to bring your hands behind, clasp them behind your back, this, so that you can get, oh, don't hyperextend, so that you can get a stretch in the shoulders and the scaps. Or they can go above your head, or you can do these cactus arms. Whatever you like. On your next exhale, lower your foot just to gently tap the floor. Turn your knee to face the front, and then kick it back behind you for warrior three. And I've got to move because I've got a wall there. Remembering to push through the four corners of that bottom foot like we did in Tadasana, pushing up through the quads, lifting that back leg as far as your effort will allow this morning. It all counts, even if it's here on the floor. Totally cool. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it back down. To meet the other, shake it out. Let's take that on the other side. So kickstand your foot to your ankle, shin, or quad. And then decide where you want the effort in your arms to be this morning. On the next exhale, lower that foot gently down. Turn your leg, your knee to face the front. And then hands are at heart center maybe, and you kick your leg behind you. Pushing strongly in that grounded leg. Beautiful. Look at all that effort out there. On the next exhale, slowly and controlledly bring it back down, or however you need to. Whatevs. And shake it out. All right. From here, forward fold. Place your hands down on the floor. Walk back to our last down dog. Lower your knees down to the mat. Maybe spreading your knees as wide as the mat. Maybe toes touching, and sink into your child's pose. On your next exhale, walk your hands back, and then find your way to a seated position. From here, extend your right leg long out in front of you and pull your left leg in to your inner thigh. From here, we're gonna fold forward, but you decide what that looks like for you. And so maybe hinging at your hips, use your hands to kind of absorb some of the weight and some of the effort that you're putting into this. So you can keep your hands down on the floor. You can put them on your ankle, on your shins. You can reach for the foot if that's where you want to be this morning. Wherever you are, just put in a little bit of effort so that you can feel a stretch here. If this is super difficult for you, then you can release that left leg from being folded in, and you can put it somewhere else that feels comfortable for you. On the next inhale, rise up to seat. Take your right hand and place it behind you. Nope, just kidding. Take your left hand and place it behind you. Take your right hand and extend it up, and then come up on that left knee for a back bend. And breathe. Lower back down to your seat, and then switch legs. From your hips, hinge forward over that left leg, wherever that takes you this morning. Remember to breathe, especially if you're feeling a stretch, if you're feeling any tightness, just kind of breathe into that muscle. Let it know it's safe, you're taking care of it, you're not gonna overstretch it. And then on the next exhale, or inhale, you're breathing. Take your right hand this time and place it behind you. Extend your left hand up above you. Push up on that right knee for this back bend. I'm pretty sure this has a name. It's just not coming to me right now, but I like it. Stretches out all kinds of things. And I think it looks pretty. My reasoning for choosing some yoga poses. Exhale back down to the floor. And then this time, extend both legs out in front of you. If things are super tight, maybe you spread your legs wide a little bit and fold forward. Or if this is too much, bring your feet together into this Baddha Konasana, a butterfly, and bend forward this side. And breathe. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the inhale, lift up. If your legs are folded into your body, extend them long. If they're already long, then just lower down, all the way down to the floor. From here, just lift your legs up above you for a few moments. If you have a block or a blanket nearby, I invite you to put it under your lower back. Otherwise, your hands work perfectly fine to support this pose a little bit. And let's just hold our legs up here. We'll go 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, you'll lower your legs down to the floor. You can either do it slowly and controlledly if you want to. You want your abs to have some effort, or you can just bring your feet down to the floor. Bring both knees into your chest. Just whatever reason, I like to cross at the ankles You can just leave them beside each other, but bring your knees into your chest. Extend your left leg long on the floor. Take your left hand and pull your right knee across your body for one last twist. Return to center. Bring your knees in. Extend your right leg long. Using your right hand, bring your left knee across your body. Return to center. Bring both knees in. Give yourself a great big hug. And thank yourself for all of the effort that you put forth this morning. From here, extend your legs long and stretch your arms up above you. Give one big good morning stretch, and then relax down into your final resting pose. For those of you who have time, Shavasana. While you're in Shavasana, I invite you to thank yourself for all of the effort that you expended this morning, just getting here, especially for those of you that are in the morning. But even for those of you who are in the afternoon, after having a full day, sometimes I just don't have the energy to do anything else. Go ahead and start to bring some awareness back into your body, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. Here we go, forgot the timer. Roll over to your favorite side, using that bicep as a pillow. And then when you're ready, push yourself back up into a seated position. Inhale your arms up above your head. Exhale down to heart center. Inhale up. Exhale, heart center. And one final time. Inhale up. Exhale to heart center. Thank you guys so much for sharing your effort with me. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your days and whatever that brings you. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.
The Mindful Life Practice Community.